All right, finally, my son Tyler is going to spend some time with me here at the Brighton Hot Dog Shoppe talking about our beloved Steelers. And don't forget the holiday that is the 4th of July around the bend, the signature cup, the delicious Pepsi, the chili dogs. He just devoured 2 in a big bowl of fries. Now that is the best way to spend any day, but this is a really great day, always spending time with my son. Now he's going to show you how much knowledge he has about our Steelers and why he probably should be doing my job for a living and joining us Sundays on the Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday Show. Quarterback situation, Ty, let's talk about it. Justin Fields, Russell Wilson, and Kyle Allen. Those are the 3 that are in the mix. How does this thing unfold?
Well, I think you just got to think about it as, well, what was the quarterback room look like last year, right? You see it's a complete drastic transformation between Pickett, Rudolph, and Trubisky, right? You have 3 different athletic mobile quarterbacks that fit well within Arthur Smith's system. You have a lot of veteran. You have a Super Bowl in the room now, right, that can kind of push people past and kind of help us get over the top.
Right.
I think athletic-wise, obviously you're going to see an improvement, but overall I just think it's just the games under the belt and obviously talent level and playoff experience and Super Bowl wins. I think that's what puts you over the top, right? In the NFL, the AFC North, I think it's just a unique place to play. Right, it's hard to be quarterback in the AFC North, right? You have to be a unique individual. Your body has to last and withstand the test of time, right? Especially in those cold winter months. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. We'll see if they can play AFC North football. But I think in a division with Jackson, Watson, and Burrow, you got to give yourself the best chance on offense. And I think our quarterback room does that right.
All right, so it really wasn't a lot of praise for Justin Fields during the OTAs. And I mean, it's just the OTAs, and I get that. But what do you think went wrong in Chicago? I mean, should I be concerned that he didn't work in Chicago if I'm a Steelers fan?
No, I mean, I think that, he's a different player. He's a young kid coming to the NFL. I mean, I believe he was a young draft pick when he first got into the league. And also, I mean, how many offensive coordinators did he go through in Chicago? And, we need something to type here in June, right? We need any article football related because we need that IV drip of football, right? We're missing it after the draft. So every time he misses a pass or has a timing issue, you're going to hear about it. Every time he sneezes, I'm sure we're going to get an article about it. But what I can tell you is I'm not concerned because he's a big, strong, athletic kid, right, who fits today's mold. He's going to fit extremely well in Arthur Smith's program of that heavy ground and pound. And honestly, too, when you have a guy like Russell Wilson sitting in front of you, you don't have to have all the pressure. I'm sure he wants to play today. But at the end of the day, for a 6th-round draft pick, if he does 6th-round draft pick things and doesn't come off the bench once, we're having him coming off the bench rather than Trubisky, which I think is pretty good.
Listen, tell the folks you're working on a podcast that hopefully is going to launch in about a month or so. Just tell them the concept, because I really like this concept. And listen, one thing this guy can do, he can eat, got the muscle, but he can cook too. And when you put the combination of someone who likes to eat, loves good food, and more importantly can cook the food and can really carry a conversation, he's your guy. Tell him that.
Yeah, so we're going to be actually launching a podcast series called the Steel City Supper Club. And our goal really is, I think, no pun intended, there's a lot of word salad out there in today's market, right, where everyone's
pretty good.
Yeah, where everyone says, hey, do this, and this is how you get here. But really, I just wanted to have a place that there's a frontier of honesty, right? And I think a lot of that comes from your dinner table, right? And what I want to do is I'm going to have guests come on with great life experience. We're going to come on and create a meal that was important to them in life and childhood, as an adult, wherever they were most impacted. And I want to talk about formidable wisdom that they gained right here at the dinner table, right? I want to learn about what set them on a path to become the best versions of themselves they can be. I don't want to hear about their ice bath routine or their mouth tape, even though that might be a thing.
Part of them.
Great, that's wonderful, but
not for that tape.
But not for that table. I know that a lot of people didn't start by having dinner and say jump on that ice bath, right? So we'll get to that, but really it's just real wisdom around the dinner table with real people and hopefully some great food.
Listen, his mom a great cook. She's got an Italian heritage in her background. And one of the things that Tyler's going to try to do with this, and my mom, his grandmother, fantastic cook, old world recipes that we grew up with, and whenever you hear about that food or that recipe, it takes you back in time to some of the joyful moments as a family. And let's face it, I've talked about this many times on the radio. Dinner time when I was growing up was a time that my father stressed that everyone be there so he could kind of keep tabs on everyone to make sure we were all following the righteous and right path. So there's a lot more to it than just food. It's about the conversation and the connection. So be waiting, and I will let you know when that thing does launch, because it's really going to be pretty cool stuff. And as you can see, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. Although I think his gift is a little bit better. He's got a skill set and a great game when it comes to conversation. Now, Russell Wilson, back to the game. 26 touchdown passes last year. Didn't work with Coach Payton in Denver. Does he have enough left in the tank to run the table, be your starter all year, stay healthy, fingers crossed, and maybe get them into the postseason? Not just one and done, but maybe deep into the postseason.
Yeah, I'm not there yet where I can really crown us deep in the playoff type contenders yet. Not because I don't love my Steelers, but it's just because that schedule, 6 division opponents at the end of the year in the AFC North, plus the Chiefs and the Eagles.
Right.
I just feel like that's kind of like a murderer's row at the end of the year. That, you know, if we're healthy, then we can talk about it. We have to get through the first 8 games unscathed relatively, and we need to be healthy and kind of catching our wind. Plus, we have a young offensive line, right, that's going to be gaining momentum and traction. But what I do know about Russell Wilson is he's a pro, and one thing I look at is he's got years in the tank after this year. Like, you look at contracts like Aaron Rodgers, you look at Tom Brady. These quarterbacks are looking for ways to extend their career, and they're looking for ways to get paid. So Russell Wilson, yeah, I know he's got Ciara money, and I know he's got his money, and I know he's got a couple flashy pieces of hardware on his fingers. But at the end of the day, he still wants a nice check, right? Because I think he took a loss on that real estate out in Seattle too. So I think he wants to get a little cash, and I think that he deserves it, right? He's been a pro. He, he's been good for the game on and off the field, right? He has a little bit of awkward, funny moments like the Broncos country left ride, but at the end of the day, like, he's been a pro, and I'd like to see him get paid and do well. But it's AFC North football. I don't look at it like any other division. Come through the first game, 8 games healthy. We'll talk in week 8.
All right, let's talk about IU. Does he end up here with somebody like a DK Metcalf, or do you think they're just fine with what they have at that position? And obviously Pickens is one of the reasons why they got to be feeling a little comfortable.
I have a name. I think it's going to be Treylon Burks from the Tennessee Titans.
Why?
I think that he was part of the Arthur Smith legacy where we draft picks,
Right.
and I think the new regime they didn't draft Burks, right? And I think that it's compensation versus value. I just don't really see with all the weapons that we have on defense. We're the highest paid defense in the league. Plus, you have a Najee Harris contract coming up. You have a Jalen Warren contract coming up. You're going to have to pay him potentially if Harris leaves. And then plus your quarterback room's cheap. So I'm not sure you want to really invest Brandon Ayuk type money, although I think he's an absolute gamer.
Yeah.
And I would love to have him here, but the cap is the cap. You know what I mean? And when you're not paying certain people, and you have the defense that you have to secure, and you have up-and-coming stars that you're going to have to pay, it's a tough thing. I don't think that we're going to be able to match the compensation and the contract that's going to get us here. But Burks, I think that's fair comp there.
Talking to my son Tyler about the Steelers countdown to camp. It'll be here in about a month. It's going to be up and running before you know it. And don't forget, every week the Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday show. During the regular season, we pick our weekly winners against the spread. Ken Hayward is in that bubble situation as far as does he stay, does he go? He's even thrown out there possibly maybe even Cleveland, the connection to Ohio State, maybe after this coming season. I'd like to see him stay here. But I heard something yesterday that really made me think about the Steelers' success, how they build their team from the line out, defensively and offensively. We know what the defense can do, and I think Joey Porter's ready to have a breakout season. Mika Fitzpatrick is healthy. You got T.J. Watt. So I'm very happy defensively. But offensively, is this offensive line now, even though they're really young, all pieces of the puzzle starting to come into place? They also have a center now they can kind of start to rely on, the young man out of West Virginia. That you see that same success now coming to the offensive side as we build it defensively from the defensive line out. Do you see that happening, or at least starting on the offense?
Well, I think that ultimately your question, to just reframe it, is we have an identity. Which that's the important thing. What you're saying, like you just said, the Steelers are known to build from the line out, right? Well, yeah, but what does that mean effectively? If you look back through the history of the black and gold, right, there's an identity. That's why people like playing here, right? It's blue collar, it's gritty, it's nasty, it's in the trenches. And what do you need to be in the trenches? You don't need a 2024 lineman, right? You need a throwback 1970 lineman, and that's what you get like Zach Frazier. That's what you get in that. Guys that are going to bring the hammer and the hard hat, and they're going to get down, put their fingers in the mud, and they're going to get after you. So that's what I think we're bringing as an identity to the AFC North yet again, to keep bringing it up. So yes, I think that we have the physical identity and we have the capability to succeed, but again, it's knowledge. What you don't know is what you don't know. So I think, again, it's how we approach our business through the first 8 weeks, because once you step into that conference play, That's when the big boys show up. So I think if they sharpen their sword, they stay healthy, and they work as a unit. Like I think Darnell Washington is going to have a crazy breakout year, especially.
I agree.
Then, you have guys like that. You have Broderick Jones, who's another year older, and then you have the chemistry of all those guys. Frazier. Then we have the new first round pick on the other side.
Right.
So I mean, it just we have the tools. Now it's just let's just pound the rock and get it done.
And that's what Arthur Smith likes to do, is ground and pound. And I also think that there's the mindset after this next contract, if Mike Tomlin wants to go and they have success, this could be your coach in waiting as far as the future. Why did it not work for him in Atlanta?
Again, there's a lot of moving parts in Atlanta, and implementing a system, and unfortunately, but fortunately, as a fan, it's exciting, right? You want to see points, you want to see wins. But from the business side of football, and from the reality is these guys don't have a lot of time. You see some absolutely ridiculous turnaround times now from the coaching side, where like they just don't have a fair chance. I mean, really, you saw Bijan Robinson last year in Atlanta start to get things together. You saw him build a nice receiving core down there with Drake London. It's just they had Marcus Mariota and all these guys, kind of injuries, and I mean, you lose your quarterback, it's very difficult to bounce back, right? So I just think it's a lot of circumstance. It's the flow of an organization. I mean, I don't know offhand, but like, how long has it been since Atlanta's been
Relevant.
like extremely relevant, right? Like they're always one of those teams that like hangs in there. They can be like a thorn in the side, but someone where you're like, whoa, look out for those Atlanta Falcons. It's just that's a franchise that's building. It's going to take some time and the right person, like a Campbell, to go down there and make them like he made the Lions, right?
Right.
You need a little bit of magic, but I don't think it's an Arthur Smith thing, because when he was in Tennessee, Derrick Henry blew up. Ryan Tannehill became a mainstay and a staple. Right, we saw some defensive things, and then I think, obviously Vrabel there did a great job until he didn't too. But I don't think it's much of an Arthur Smith thing as much was an entire situation down in Atlanta.
By the way, Steelers training camp, St. Vincent on the Trobe. I was up in the Laurel Highlands yesterday for my broadcast. Go Laurel Highlands, great partnership, lots of things to do up in that part of the country. And I was telling my son about Living Treasures, and he's already been there with his 3 kids, absolutely loved it. So if you're looking for something to do when you go up to watch the Steelers train, go Laurel Highlands. Lots of exciting things, and discover Westmoreland County. Had a great broadcast there last night and really had a good time. A couple of more notes with my son Tyler before I'm off and running. We'll be on the air tonight at 7 o'clock. We got a very special Pittsburgh work show coming up. I hope you'll join me for that. But before I let you go here at the Brighton Hot Dog Shoppe, what food do you got a couple of chili dogs here and some fries. When you come to the Brighton Hot Dog Shoppe, is there something that you definitely have to get, or your kids have to get every time you come?
Yeah, I mean, that's tough, because I mean, I'm pretty much a creature of habit at these places, these staples, right? Like a lot of it's weaved into the fabric of, growing up, right? In general, like I think of the Hot Dog Shoppe. Whenever I actually lived in Florida for a short period of time, it was like one of the only things I missed was the Hot Dog Shoppe, which was strange, because it's just like
I raised them right, Frank and Mark.
it's just one of those things where you miss it, and it's not like the fanciest place in the world, but it tastes like home. And I think that we always get chili cheese fries, we always get the chili cheese dog or burger, and my kids, they all eat the same thing, right? So it's
just like
that. It's really not not like I have to get. It's more or less like I wouldn't think to get anything else. Like I don't come here saying like, hey, like what's new? I just do.
All right, we'll close on the Steelers. Looking at everything, and you mentioned Deshaun Watson, and I think he could be the sleeper. I mean, if he gets anywhere near the way he played when he was in Houston, I think he's going to be the sleeper that could really not just thrive, but dominate in that AFC North. I think he's got that kind of skill set. And you got Myles Garrett on the defensive side of the line, so Cleveland could really do some big things. But Joe Burrows, hopefully he can stay healthy. We know what Lamar Jackson can do. But can the Steelers, if you look at them right now on paper, and some of the things fall in place like we talked, can they compete for this conference title?
Absolutely, yeah. And obviously Deshaun Watson in Houston is Deshaun Watson. He was MVP caliber, right? He was a very good player. I just think that, seeing what I saw from him last year in Cleveland, I thought that he's a $230 million man that's looking for a way out. Like, I've never seen a quarterback just tap out like he did at the end of the year. Like, it seems like he could have toughed through it. So I'm not sure, if his teammates are completely on board with him there or not. But, at the end of the day, he's going to come and play football. Cincinnati, obviously, anytime you have Joe Burrow under center, that's going to be a game. And then Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry now, that's going to be a very unique backfield and a very frustrating backfield as a Steeler fan, but an exciting time for Harbaugh and the Ravens. But at the end of the day, Tomlin, I know that Steeler fans get annoyed to hear it. He's never had a losing season. I know we're not paying him for not having a losing season, but we're looking for championships here in Pittsburgh. But, he finds a way to get it done against Baltimore. Cincinnati is always interesting, and then Cleveland can kind of be annoying sometimes. But I think that we have a shot, again, with the asterisk by it, if we stay healthy. Like, that's the most critical thing. Like, it seems like every year watching the Steelers of lately, like, we always have someone go down with the dreaded ankle sprain, or you see, like, guys like Holcomb last year with the knee, and then you're just down in the depth chart and you're playing catch-up. I really would like to see what this team can do as long as they maintain and manage their bodies effectively, and we're able to just see the Steelers product develop in synergy throughout the year. And I know it's the NFL, but I really, really want to see that.
Well, Henry is now with Baltimore, but we happen to have their former linebacker,
Patrick Queen.
What do you think that's going to do for this team?
I think it's going to be absolutely dynamic. I mean, I think that our inside linebacking core, not being a homer, if you did the Pro Football Focus, I'm sure that we have among the best inside linebacker cores in the league. Obviously, linebacking core, collective group, T.J. Watt levels us up quite a bit. But you have all those guys. You have the versatility of Landon Roberts, who's just an absolute thumper, can come downhill and stop you in your tracks, meet you in the gap, meet you right in the center of the hole, Western style mano a mano. You got Patrick Queen, who's your prototypical all-pro linebacker, sideline to sideline, can do it all, who literally, the only reason he probably left Baltimore to begin with is because he wasn't getting the same love after Roquan Smith from Chicago came down there. So I think he wanted his flowers, a little bit, especially coming to Pittsburgh, really was able to do that. And then you got Holcomb, who's just a gamer and an absolute baller. And then you go to the outside, you go to the bookends. I mean, it's a lethal combination. I think Minkah Fitzpatrick comes back into form this year, and now he's going to be a little healthier. I think Porter steps up. I think Cam Sutton, that was a sleeper signing. Hopefully he has his legal troubles behind him and everything's kind of working out and everything is healthy with him now mentally and
don't forget Fryermuth too.
Fryermuth, yeah. We got a lot of players, and then Benton. I think he's going to be the guy that steps up for an All-Pro year this year.
I love my son. He's the best. Don't forget Coons Market Black and Gold Sunday Show every single week, even when it's not the season. We spend time talking the National Football League and our beloved Steelers. And remember the Brighton Hot Dog Shoppe. It's the signature flavor that we've been savoring for years and generations, and we've been coming here since I had to use a booster seat. All right, have a great day. Later tonight on the radio, it's your Pratte Pack. Get to the Brighton Hot Dog Shoppe. I know they love to see you, especially for the 4th of July. Get a cup.